This has been a very magical place for a century. There's been magic going on in the Mahoning Valley for over a century. The amateur magicians obviously were active before the formal formation of a magic club.
BusinessJournalDaily.com. 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
The topic is Magic in the Mahoning Valley, a century of mysteries. And our speakers today are Gary Morton and Fritz Coombs.
I have the red handkerchief here that's hidden in my hand right there. That's where I keep the white one, hidden in the hand, just like that. So that's the secret, 2 handkerchiefs. See? What you don't tell anybody is, well, you were coming in and I was setting up. I secretly hid the red one in my closed fist. It was there the whole time. I don't know if you saw it when I came out. You get it all the way down in your hand, just like this. Don't let it poke out the bottom, though. Once you get the red one hidden, that's when you come out and you start waving the white one up and down and you say, I'm going to do magic with a white handkerchief. Of course, the only problem you have is now you can't open this hand. Because if you open this hand, it ruins the illusion.
My part was just leading up to the formation of the Youngstown Club by talking about the magicians from Ohio and then focusing down into the Mahoning Valley, which reached over into Meadville and Newcastle and Niles and all the magicians that became famous, famous to the magic community. I don't know, they're not household words to the lay people, but to the magic community, they're all well-known people.
Harry Kellar wasn't from Ohio. He was from Erie, Pennsylvania, just across the border there. But Harry was born July 11th, 1849 in Erie, Pennsylvania. Kellar was the first great magician native to the United States. He was called the Dean of Magic and the most beloved magician in history. One of his most memorable stage illusions was the levitation of a girl advertised as the levitation of Princess Karnak. He was the most popular magician from 1896 until 1908. In 1908, Kellar publicly turned his show over to his successor, Howard Thurston.
First of all, you have to remember Youngstown was a big stop on the vaudeville circuit. And usually the vaudeville shows would include magicians. Howard Thurston, who Gary talked about, would often come back to Youngstown with his act and would participate with our local club. A lot of the guys got to be, back in that day, got to be friends of Howard Thurston.
Howard Thurston was from Ohio. He was born in Columbus, July 20th, 1869. Thurston was originally a card manipulator and toured the world from 1904 to 1907 with a full evening show. In 1907, he returned to the United States and became successor to Harry Kellar, the leading American magician. He graduated from card tricks to perfecting grand illusions. And for more than 20 years, he toured with a 3-hour show and became best known for his large stage illusions, such as the Floating Lady. At his peak, Thurston traveled with 30 assistants and 8 train cars full of props, costumes, animals, and machinery. This one right here, one poster depicts the whippet that he would make disappear from the stage. And we looked that up at the Magic Club meeting just last week and found out the whippet was actually an automobile that was produced in Toledo, Ohio. So more of the Ohio connection there. Charles Joseph Carter, who began his career as a journalist and lawyer, was an American stage magician who performed as Carter the Great. Carter was born 1874 in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Due to stiff competition from the number of magic acts on the American stages at the time, Carter opted to pursue his career abroad, where he achieved his greatest fame. Because of his elaborate live shows, he had to travel everywhere with a lot of equipment, which at one point reached the weight of 31 tons. According to some sources, it was this heavy equipment of his that led him to being refused a place on the RMS Titanic during a return trip. Fortunately for him, I guess, huh? Anna Eva Fay was born Anna Eliza Heathman in Southington, Ohio, 1851. Anna was one of the most famous and successful mediums of the 19th and 20th centuries, enthralling the American public with her ability to read minds, communicate with spirits, and predict future events. Another local magician, Dr. John Booth, born 1912 in Meadville, Pennsylvania. In 1928, at the age of 16, Booth joined the International Brotherhood of Magicians and began publishing a serial column on magic history called Memoirs of a Magician's Ghost. Orlando Carmelo Scarnecchia. He was born 1903 in Niles, Ohio, and at some point anglicized his name to be John Scarney. I think we're all thankful for that. He left school after the 8th grade, learned from a local card sharp how to perform such swindles as the 3-card Monte. Phil Wilmarth, born in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. He was a magician, magic historian, lecturer, author, and editor. He was president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians between 2007 and 2008. Wilmarth wrote numerous books and articles on the field of magic and its performances, including Fun with a Handkerchief, The Ring and Rope, The Knot Collector, and The Imposterous Princess Expanded. This brings us to the International Brotherhood of Magicians, which the Youngstown Club is a participant. It's the world's largest organization of magicians with members in 88 countries.
My portion of the presentation focused in on the history of the Youngstown Magic Club. The magicians were affiliated with that locally over the past almost 100 years. A lot of these people were prominent businessmen. We did get a few people turn pro and make a success out of it.
Johnny Ace Palmer, he graduated from Lakeview High School in Cortland. He knew right from when he was a kid he wanted to do magic, and he became the #1 in the world. A close-up magician. Now, close-up magic is doing like tabletop stuff with cards and coin, not the big box illusions that you see the David Copperfields do. Johnny was the first ever to win the Magician of the World. It's held every 3 years, a competition, and as a close-up magician, he won the title that only stage magicians had won before. And then there was Del Rey.
Del, as we came to call him, grew up in an orphanage in Warren. His mother basically had too many kids. She gave him up to the orphanage, and there he lived and went to school until he was 15 years old. While he was there, he saw a magic show run by 2 of our members, Nevin Hofert and Dawn Lee. The magic bug had bit him bad. He got a magic set, he read everything he could, he practiced magic, and became a part of our club. He joined the Navy, and after his contingent in the Navy, became an assistant at Blackstone, turned professional with a nightclub act. Del was not only a very accomplished sleight of hand magician, but he also was a whiz in electronics. Long before we had apples and all that type of thing. He used electronics to create some of the illusions in his act. Frank Ziccone. Frank was a chartered member of Room 2. You probably have not heard of him, but you've seen what he started. Ziccone is credited with making balloon animals. Every clown, every Shriner, every juggler makes balloon animals. They have Frank Ziccone to thank for all that. The first president of the Youngstown Magic Club was a fellow by the name of Gus Doewright. He also happened to be a very well-known industrialist. He was the founder of what was then known as Falcon Bronze, later on became known as Falcon Foundry. He was also involved in several other corporate enterprises. And as a matter of fact, because he was the first president, he was one of the leaders of the magic community, our Ring 2 was eventually named for him. We were then known as the Gus Doewright Ring.
Next year is going to be the 100th anniversary of our charter, and so I'm trying to organize things each month next year to celebrate, whether we do some shows at local libraries, things to promote the club, maybe drive up some membership.
This has been a very magical place for a century. There's been magic going on in the Mahoning Valley for over a century. The amateur magicians obviously were active before the formal formation of a magic club.
If there's anybody that watches this and they know of anybody, all ages, I think the membership for the IBM starts at 12, but from 12 on up, you know, we'd love to have them come, and we would share, you know, a lot of the guys I learned from, they're gone now, but we'd like to build that club back up again and carry on the history that we've had for 100 years in the valley.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.